What a guy, Catherine.
Yeah, absolutely, Scene. Joining me now to talk more about the impact that Eddie Basha had on the community, both personally and professionally, is Tim McCabe. And Tim is the president of the Arizona Food Marketing Alliance here in Phoenix. Thanks so much for joining me. So many people having a difficult time talking about Eddie Basha in that he's passed away. But I want to talk a little bit about what Diana alluded to, and that is that he just had this way of touching everyone he came into contact with. If you worked for him, you were like family, weren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, you never mentioned to Eddie anything about employees because the 11,000 folks that work for Basha's were his family members. And it's not just his employees, but his customers, suppliers, anybody that Eddie touched, he considered and treated like a family member. And every time you had a conversation with Eddie, no matter what it was you were talking about, you always left the conversation feeling good about it. He was that kind of a person that just in a short conversation could really have a great impact.
Yeah, he really moved people. One person was telling me that I spoke to yesterday that, you know, we're going to have a hard time finding a big enough venue for all of the people to memorialize him because he really did have such a way with people. He called him the epitome of Arizona, what Arizona is all about, the real Arizona, because of his generosity and the fact that he really did believe in diversity and he was a philanthropist. What do you think, though, people will most remember? Because I understand that he also had a wicked sense of humor.
Yes, he did. His humor was second to none, but you can't, there's not enough words that can describe a person like Eddie. I mean, you can't, all of the things that you mentioned, his whole life he was committed to education. He did so many things for education in the state of Arizona that people don't realize, the boards he served on, all of the things that he impacted at all kinds of levels, and he had impact everywhere. But in terms of his sense of humor, Eddie was really good, or one of the best that I've ever seen at being a practical joker.
Yes.
And he was good about, he'd call you on the phone and you didn't know who he was, and he'd pretend like he was somebody else. He knew enough about you that he could get under your skin a little bit. And he would talk about, maybe he was a reporter, maybe he was somebody working for the government, but he would really get people going. I was fortunate enough that I was never a recipient of one of his calls, but I know a lot of people that were, and boy, he was good at it. His impersonations and everything, and after a while, everybody, you'd get so frustrated, and then he'd tell you who he was, and you couldn't help but laugh it off. But
yeah, he made quite the impression. And I know that business-wise, some people were saying that he was really the first to initiate buy local. He really believed in growing the economy. And as you mentioned, he was a big proponent of education. I understand that a billboard is going up this weekend. Tell me about that in the less than 30 seconds that we have left.
The billboard, there's billboards that are going up that are going to honor Eddie.
Let's see if we can get a shot of that.
See if you can get that shot. These are going to go up, digital billboards are going to go up all across Maricopa County this entire weekend, and I think these words say it the best.
Absolutely.
And I will say, you know, Eddie was a great practical joker, and the best thing that ever happened to those that have had him play jokes was having caller ID, because once you knew it was Eddie, then you know there was nothing he could do. So it's somebody that's going to be truly missed. Just a great, great person and legend here in Arizona.
An Arizona icon. Thank you so much, Tim, for sharing your thoughts with us. We appreciate it.
You bet.